A lot of new investors get caught up in wondering how much money they need to start investing in stocks. That's really not important as you might think, simply because the answer is as little as a penny and as high as your whole entire net worth. So that's why that question really isn't, I would say, important. It's more it's more just dependent on what you're trying to do in stocks. So, for example, you don't have to buy a stock like SPY, for example. So, for one full share of SPY, you're looking at $613.44 if you want to buy right now and not wait, right? But if all I have is $1, I can buy 0.001.63 shares of SPY. So that's why this question alone isn't articulated correctly in order for you to really figure out the true answer of what you're looking for, which I think when most people ask, how much money do you need to invest in stocks? I think what they're really asking is, in order for them to actually have an effective profit, 4-digit profit, 5-digit profit, how much do they need to invest? That question is a lot more specific, and you can actually find an answer to that. Here's why. Okay, so if I wanted to do with SPY or any stocks, if you're looking for income investing, you're either going to get it through dividends or through options trading. Okay, those are like the two ways. So with SPY specifically, if you wanted to buy today, which I personally wouldn't, because I feel like it's at its peak right now, but let's just say hypothetically, if you didn't care that it was at its peak and you bought it today for $613 a share, and you decided that you wanted to you wanted to do sell call options for profit trading, for income trading. So this will cost you $61,000, $344.00. That's an even number. Wow, look at that. So that's what it'll cost you. Now, the kind of profit you can expect from something like this would be as followed. Go to sell call. Okay, again, I wouldn't buy it for as high as what it is today, but we're just doing hypotheticals to make things easier. So if you're the kind of investor that just wants to set something and forget about it, if I can ever get down there, or if you're an aggressive investor, I can show both scenarios so you can see. Okay, this one, let's just say this one, August 29th, 2 months away, 61 days. All right, so we bought for 613. We're not trying to make a killing here, especially in a time frame as little as 2 months, right? So let's sell it for 615 right here. So $2 times 100, so that's $200 just from the price difference at a sale if we were to sell on August 29th in 2 months. And then the contract will pay us 1,700. So 1,700 divided by 60 months, 60 days, which is 2 months. You're looking at 1,860 a month. $860 a month that you made off of, virtually nothing. Again, I wouldn't buy this type of stock for this price right now. I wouldn't be doing these type of trades, but this is just to give people an example. So like I said, you saw you can buy as little as $1, or you can buy as high as 60 grand worth and be making at least $800 a month. This is like it's a scenario. I'm not gonna say it's a bad scenario or a good scenario, but it's just a hypothetical scenario. All right, so that's why The question is more about what you're looking to get out of stock, more so than it is the dollar amount. If you just want to be invested in stocks, you could technically buy one share for $1. 0.111 of a share of this, and you only be spending $1. But if you actually wanted to make money, you know, 60 grand is not a bad starting point. But you can make less or more. I think instead of focusing on the dollar amount that you're invested in on stocks, you should be worried about a few other things. So, in my opinion, I feel like before you even should be worried about stocks, have you some money set aside. So, like, a savings account with, now, popular opinion is 3 to 6 months living expenses. Personally, I don't feel like that's enough simply because the world is crazy. I'm a little bit of a guy that thinks of the worst case scenarios and always wants to be prepared for them. So I like to keep personally like 2-3 years of savings in cash, like in a savings account. That way, if anything was to go wrong, I know I'm good for the next 2-3 years without having to worry about anything. That's just me. Everyone's different though. But that's just me. So, which brings me to my next topic. I would say a good percent, instead of worrying about a dollar amount, if you could keep at least 20% of your total net worth in stocks, that's healthy in my opinion. I feel like let's say you have $1 million of a net worth. So something like that, you would have 200,000 in stocks, right? 200K in stocks. That's a very nice portfolio. You would have, let's just say you own real estate, whether it's a personal house or rental property, you got another 200K in real estate, and then you have another 200K in a emergency fund, and you still have 400,000 in whatever you want the 400,000 to be in. So I feel like 20% is a good mark to start at. I understand most people aren't starting out with $1 million net worth, but even if you were starting out with as little as $100,000 net worth, total net worth, meaning everything you own is 100,000. If you got 20,000 in stocks, that's not a bad start. Because you got 20,000 in stocks, let's say you got another 20,000 in emergency account, maybe you got another 20,000 in bonds or real estate, whatever it is, and you still got 40,000 that's just you're not even sure what to do with yet. You can use that for future business plans or to reinvest back into yourself. But the dollar amount isn't relative. It's more relative to a percentage of your total net worth is much more relative and much more realistic to consider. But as you can see, you can start with as little as you got and you can increase it to be as much as you want. I would say just start. If you are going to start investing and you're worried about, you don't think you have enough, just invest what you got. And over time, allow it to grow. Whether that means you're putting $100 a week or $5 a week, just start. Or $1,000 a week, just start. Once you start and you start investing and you start learning and you just allow your money to grow, you're going to slowly realize like how much money you can actually make. Year to date, I'm up, what did they just say, 6 grand. So but it's because I've been investing for a while and I was never scared to start investing with whatever I had. So start small and grow over time. There's nothing wrong with that.